Today on the channel, the top 10 best of 2021 lists continue as we dive into the top 10 G.I. Joe Classified series of 2021. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another year-end top 10 list. And today we're counting down one of my favorite lines going today, and that is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified line. And we're going to count it down like all the other countdowns on the channel. 1 being my favorite, 10 being my 10th favorite of the G.I. Joe figures of 2021. And like I said, Hasbro coming in hot this year. Now the G.I. Joe line's a very, very interesting line. Really the tale of 2 years. G.I. Joe anxiety, we talk a lot of turtle anxiety. G.I. Joe anxiety was a real thing in 2020. For some, still in 2021, but I think everybody could agree distribution has gotten a heck of a lot better, and there's a lot of reasons for that we've discussed ad nauseum on the channel. But if this is your first time to the channel, you better make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss one of these videos. We do a lot of business talks, we do a lot of countdowns, we do a lot of unboxings, we do a lot on the channel. It's worth you hitting the old like button and subscribe button, so do that now. There you go. Good job. Thank you. Anyways, we've talked a lot about G.I. Joe, the tale of 2 years, and this year, Target exclusives were the big heavy hitter, heavy pain point to the average collector out there. But 2021, things got a heck of a lot better. And just today, as I filmed this video, I was at my local Target. I think I counted 12 barbecues, the latest classified exclusive figure to Target. 12 of them just chilling on the shelf, not moving anywhere. I think things have gotten a lot better. And COVID was a huge problem with that. Left a lot of bad taste in a lot of G.I. Joe collectors' mouths. A lot of G.I. Joe people jumped off at the end of 2020. And I've seen a lot of people jump back in 2021 as things have gotten easier to find. So an interesting line, a tale of 2 years, but one thing at least I can agree on, and a lot of you guys as well, we got some dynamite figures in 2021, and it's time to count them down, and we're going to start with number 10. All right, we start at number 10 on our top 10 countdown of G.I. Joe Classified Series figures of 2021. As usual, my style today is we got to dress up for these countdown videos. As usual, Kenny Rogers Western wear from Carmen, 1980s staple, vintage Kenny Rogers. You guys know how I do it. Bust these shirts out for the classy videos, and it doesn't get much more classy than our top 10 G.I. Joe countdown of 2021. And coming in at number 10, to me, was maybe the biggest misstep so far in the classified series, but we did get a couple of good figures from a line inside of a line. And you guys probably know where I'm going. I'm going to the Snake Eyes Origins movie figures. Now, a lot could be said about the movie. I haven't seen it yet. Can you believe that? I just have not had time. I take my G.I. Joe card back. I should see it, but I hear it's terrible, but I'm still going to watch it one of these days very, very soon. But a big misstep to me was the numbering of the G.I. Joe Classified line. We all know they number the figures, but if you have a subline inside the line, put it as A, B, C, D. Don't put it as part of the traditional numbers. It doesn't fit. The box doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. We've talked about that on the channel before, so I won't get too deep into it. So this is a bit of a misstep. Not everybody is wanting movie figures. Not everybody is wanting Snake Eye movie figures. So I could see a lot of people passing on these. And I think a lot of these figures from the line inside the line have went on deep discount. Amazon, $4.99 I think this figure was for at least a day. That could have been a glitch. That being said, we had at least one phenomenal figure. I'd almost say two, but only one of the figures is making my top 10 list. And which one is that going to be? Well, it's my main girl. Not really my main girl. One of my main girls. And we're talking about Scarlett. Yes, Scarlett. She was number 20 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. Scarlett comes in at number 10 for me. Now, Storm Shadow just looked like a generic ninja to me. I don't like the off-white color. The Baroness didn't hold a candle to the other Baroness. The Snake Eyes was okay. I didn't mind the Snake Eyes as much. But the real winner, and then Akiko. Who's Akiko? That should be Jinx. Don't get me started. But Akiko, no thanks. Scarlett, though, however, now a lot could be said about Scarlett version 1 that we got early in the Classified series. It looked like a little girl to me. It looked like Raggedy Ann and Andy looking or something. It just didn't fit right. This Scarlett, however, I know it is based on the actress, but this is what I want out of a Scarlett Classified figure. This, if I had to pick one Scarlett, if I could only get one, this is the one I would go with. This one just looks better. It's more eye-appealing. It looks more Classified series realistic. So that is one of the big reasons this one popped on my list. And counting down, I didn't think I was going to have any of these, but I kept catching my eye back to this Scarlett. This Scarlett is phenomenal. I highly recommend if you're getting one of the Snake Eyes figures, this is the one to get. And if you're only picking up one Scarlett, once again, this is the one to get. So that is the reason Scarlett from the Snake Eyes Origin subline comes in at number 10. All right, we're to the number 9 spot on the countdown. And number 9, we're taking a trip to the islands. Ah, the island. But what island, you say? Cobra Island, I say. The Target Cobra Island exclusive. Now, this is G.I. Joe anxiety at the height of G.I. Joe anxiety. The last Cobra Island debacle did not go so hot, turned off a lot of collectors, as we all know out there. Then it was time for round 2 of Cobra Island, and we were all bracing for impact, and that's exactly what we did, as we were getting a core villain in this wave. So at number 9, who do we got? We got Firefly, Target exclusive Cobra Island. Got my mint and my loose one here. An interesting character here. Now, this one normally would be maybe higher on my list, as Firefly was an old school G.I. Joe favorite of mine. I love a good sabotager out there. I love people that sabotage things, especially in the cartoon environment where nobody really gets hurt. But Firefly is a great figure here. I love everything that can be stored on him. Great detail, great coloring. It looks like a modern, updated representation of Firefly. The only thing that holds it back for me a little bit, I'm a little biased maybe this doesn't bother you, his vest. I just don't like his vest. I like the skinnier, sleeker look instead of the bomb vest version, but I get it. They're trying to update him, put him into the future there. So it is what it is. I still like the figure, but I think I would have liked it more if they didn't have the vest and more traditional version of Firefly, and he would have came in a little higher on my list. But this was one, like I said, G.I. Joe, Cobra Island anxiety was at an all-time high. I remember Midwest Wrestling legend Gage Octane and myself. We went up about 45 minutes north to a Target out of town because we were looking at Pop Finder or something. I don't know how we got some intel there, but we knew there was a case up there. We each got our 2 we needed for our mint and loose set, and we just did a happy dance all the way home. We were happy to have Firefly anxiety finished and a solid figure, a solid figure, this Firefly, and I was happy to have that done. And then we saw later on this was a lot more accessible. This was the start of the more accessible figures, and we've seen it since then grow and grow. So Firefly, a lot of people were scared at first, but I think everybody that wanted a Firefly most likely got a Firefly, or at least had a way to get them not too much more than retail. And I think that's fair enough. So there it is. Number 9 for me, Firefly. All right, we're at the number 8 spot in our top 10 G.I. Joe countdown here, and number 8 is an interesting one. A character that got re-released as a Hasbro PulseCon exclusive this year. A figure I extremely loved. I loved it with all of my heart when it first came out, but then things shifted throughout the year. I still love it. It's in my top 10, but this one was earlier on much higher on my list, but as I looked at things, it kind of fell down for whatever reason, and it is a moment in time. You ask me 3 years from now, maybe it'll move up, maybe it'll move down. We'll have to see. But coming in at number 8 is an interesting one, like I said. We're going to go with Zartan, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And here it is right here. Now, we know we got an original line Zartan, which was great. Basically, this is a re-release of that one, but this one is a little extra special. We get a little extra special packaging. We get more accessories, and we get the old school Zartan color-changing features. If you guys were a kid like me back in the day, that was one of the funnest things about this Zartan toy. So they gave this as an exclusive with the Archer set and all that. If you guys know the comic books, Zartan was a Deadeye Archer, like a young Hawkeye out there. But number 8 for me, and that does seem low maybe to some people out there. I could see you putting this higher, and this is my list, and I could see people having this at number 1. I get it. But I don't know, some kind of the magic wore off. I still love it. I do think this might go higher on my list of favorites when we get the other Dreadnoks, at least the Core 3 Dreadnoks. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Come on, let's get that. But still a fabulous figure, a fabulous version of Zartan. Once again, a lot of the old features of Zartan brought up to 2021, I guess we'll call it. And I'm glad they gave us a Hasbro Pulse Deluxe version. I think it is a perfect fit for one of those. A lot of people got the original Zartan that came out in the classified line. Didn't need this one, and I respect that and understand that out there. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to go with this one because it has so many more bells and whistles. So number 8 for me, the leader of the Dreadnoks, Zartan. All right, it's time for number 7, and number 7, we make a return to the islands. Cobra Island, once again, the Target exclusive, and this year, we always get a vehicle, or at least the last 2 years. If you guys remember 2020, we got Baroness and her motorcycle. Well, what did we get for 2021? We've got Breaker and the Ram cycle. So it's nice to get a vehicle, as vehicles are such an important part to G.I. Joe. Some people say 50-50. I'm more 75% figure, character, 25% vehicle, but there is no denying there is a lot of key vehicles to G.I. Joe, iconic vehicles to G.I. Joe. And I don't know if the Ram Cycle is quite one of those vehicles, but it's one of those grandma vehicles a lot of us had as a kid. I had the Ram Cycle as a kid. I also had the Dreadnoks version from Sears exclusive back in the day. So I did have an affliction, or an affinity, I should say, for the Ram Cycle out there. So I was excited to get that. And I think it's perfect to put Breaker with the Ram Cycle, as we got to call a spade out there. There was no kid on the old playground back in the day, and you're lying if you say there was, that Breaker was their favorite G.I. Joe guy. He was one of the very early Joes, very plain Jane Joe, didn't have the Flint-esque leadership qualities, didn't have the Serpentor, domineering, the Sergeant Slaughter wrestling crossover. I could list a million Joes that most people liked over Breaker, but I think it was genius for the G.I. Joe Classified series to give us Breaker and a Ram Cycle, giving us a little bit meat on that bone for Breaker, and then Breaker for customizers out there is a great base for a character. So a lot to like about this. It feels almost cheating a little bit putting him in the line, in my top 10 line, because he does come with a vehicle that helps him out, but I do feel like the vehicle offsets him a little bit, so I'm going to call it. We had Baroness in last year's. We got to put Breaker in this one. And Breaker's a pretty solid figure, a good looking figure, a great looking head sculpt that I know customizers got extra use from Marvel Legends and other things out of there. So there's just really a lot to like about this one. And once again, much like the barbecue, fairly easy to get. I think I passed over about 50 to 60 of these in my local Targets. Your mileage will vary, I totally understand that, but a lot of people got this for $12 on final clearance. So it was out there for a decent length of time. It was very available on Target.com for periods up and down, stuff like that. Always follow my social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. I always post these deals up when things are like that, they're live or whatever, trying to give a little extra help out there to the community. So make sure you're following on that, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel, of course, while you're doing all that. But Breaker is a pretty cool one, all things considered. I'm anxious to see what next year brings, because it seems to be a yearly tradition. 2 years starts a tradition, right? One is a one and done. Twice, hey, we're expecting it now. What vehicle might we get next year in the Tiger Force Python Patrol pack? I think there's something that's got to be brewing. I'm sure it's going to be a smaller vehicle, of course. I don't think we're getting any big vehicles as an exclusive, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened out there. All things considered, this is a pretty solid one, and that's why he's coming in at number 7 on my top 10 countdown. All right, we're at the number 6 spot at our top 10 countdown, and number 6 is one of the heaviest hitters in the G.I. Joe team. Figuratively and literally, as this is a big, brooding guy, a big, beefy guy, and he also cooks up a mean steak. And if you know what I mean, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Roadblock. Yes, Roadblock. Roadblock, as you guys remember, Amazon exclusive in 2021. And a lot of people out there were very pleased with this one, as a lot of people said, this is my Roadblock. We got Roadblock before. We got him into 3 different versions before this one. And I would say most people out there, this is their Roadblock. The first version of Roadblock was more akin to my Roadblock, the one I really liked the most as a kid, but I like this one too. And I'm happy to get this one. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see this as a Target exclusive with the Tiger Force decor in 2022 for you repaint guys out there. Gotta get the most of your molds. I gotta think we'll probably get this exact figure re-released, as this was an Amazon exclusive, as I mentioned, so a lot of people missed out on this, unfortunately, being an exclusive once again. So I could see a Tiger Force repaint coming down the line, and I'm okay with it. Tiger Force being my favorite subset of G.I. Joes. But this Roadblock gave everybody what they really wanted, including the huge Gatling gun that a lot of people were screaming for, the camo top, all that kind of fun stuff. So Roadblock, a very, very solid figure. One a lot of people were happy to get. And really the turning point in the G.I. Joe line is getting more comic cartoon based instead of kind of reimagining of characters that we started with. We talked about it on the channel before, but they really, Hasbro being Hasbro really listened to the fans and steered the direction of the G.I. Joe ship more towards the cartoons and the comic books and that kind than total reimaginings out there. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that to come in 2022. So number 6, the Amazon exclusive Roadblock. All right, we've come to the halfway point. We're at number 5. Make sure you put your list in the comments down below. And at number 5, comes possibly my favorite female G.I. Joe character of all time. And if you watch the channel for any great length of time, you probably know who this is. And this is a great pack here, as this was not an exclusive to anywhere. This is available everywhere. You could probably run to your local Target right now and find her hanging out on the shelf. But this one is an interesting one. It really is a 2-in-1 figure when you break it down. And let's explain. Without any further ado, number 5 for me, Lady Jaye. Oh, Lady Jaye. Oh, love Lady Jaye. Obviously, Flint's girlfriend, future wife. We know that whole story. Love Lady Jaye from the get-go. Tough as nails, but just a dynamite knockout. And love Lady Jaye. I love this version of Lady Jaye, as we know she had 2 heads, and that was a great idea by the Hasbro team. Gave us the head with the hat as a callback to the old school toy and comic book. And then we got the cartoon head. And I'm cartoon head all day long. I did pick up another Lady Jaye, though, however, as I'm going to display 2 of them. I'm going to have one with the cartoon head, one with the other head. I just had to do it. Got to get a deal out there. Found one. We'll talk about it in the weekly purchases, but I got to get a deal. You guys know how that goes, and that's what I did. So I said, okay, I can have 2 Lady Jayes, or 3 if you count them in on box. But possibly the greatest female figure so far from the Joe line for me. You guys know I was really torn on that Baroness. That first version of Baroness was a very solid figure as well. But Lady Jaye, oh, what she means to the Joe team, just the character involved, and then the great likeness to Lady Jaye. We talked about that with Roadblock. Steering more towards the cartoons and comics than trying to do some futuristic version out there. And I think that was a smart move by the Hasbro team. And we got a dynamite Lady Jaye. This is the Lady Jaye I've been wanting my whole life. And then, this will be for next year's video, but we know Super 7's coming out with a Lady Jaye. So it'll be interesting next year how we do this video. We might have to do Super 7 and Classified separate. I don't know what we'll do, but that Lady Jaye looks tremendous as well. So it'll be very interesting how things break down. But as of right now, out of all the Lady Jaye figures that have been released over the years, and a little known fact, I passed on the original Lady Jaye because I didn't like the hat. And you guys know I wasn't huge into the female figures unless it was down to that. I was getting a lot of males first. I know, it's crazy, but that's what I was doing. Lady Jaye was one I never picked up back in the day, and it just didn't look like Lady Jaye to me with the hat, because that wasn't what I saw in my cartoon programming every day. But this is great, and that's why it is number 5 on my top 10 countdown. All right, at number 4, we're taking a return trip to the islands. We're getting all those airline miles in, and when I say the islands, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Target exclusive Cobra Island line. Early on in 2021, this figure came out. It stole our hearts. It never let go like a young Rio out there. And this, as of right now, is the greatest army builder, I feel, in the G.I. Joe Classified universe. And we've only got a couple so far. And we got 2 with the Bat and the Alley Viper coming really soon. But who am I talking about for number 4? I think you guys know. I'm talking about the Cobra Viper. Oh, baby. Love me the Cobra Viper. And going back to my childhood, the Cobra officers, the Cobra troopers were great and all. The Crimson Guards were nice as well. But the Cobra Vipers were probably my favorite Cobra trooper as a whole. I just liked the looks of them. That was when my deep, deep love of G.I. Joe came. I was just getting a little bit older. I was like 7 years old, where it was 5 and 6 before. It was something in that bracket. But as I got a little older, I just really loved that era. Kind of the second wave of G.I. Joe was always my favorite wave. I think it depends how old you are out there. But the Viper, a classic figure. This looks like the Viper. This is what we wanted in the Classified series. We were all excited to get this one. Very, very hard to get it first, as you guys all know out there. With time, got a little bit easier. I just recently saw one of these on the pegs about 4 weeks ago. I don't understand how that happened. It was weird. But still, very hard, very pricey to get it first. This was where a lot of people were throwing in the towel in on the G.I. Joe with Firefly, the Cobra Viper. They were just had enough. They said, I'm not paying scalper prices. I can never find these. Things got a heck of a lot better later on in 2021, but a lot of people gave up G.I. Joe collecting because of this figure, and that is a shame, because I guarantee you, we say it on the channel, Hasbro wants every dollar in your wallet. They want every single dollar you have. Trust me on that. Every company does. They're not a nonprofit. They want your money. It's just distribution, COVID, forecastings. You got to remember the G.I. Joe line came apart or came together and was planned and started to be produced pre-COVID. They didn't know people were jumping back into collecting. That was one of the big issues of G.I. Joe Classified series, the first rough year we had with those. But the Viper, absolutely fabulous. Absolutely love that you have a scarf, goggles. You can take them on, make them different, because this is at its heart an army builder. I have a few of these in my collection, as you guys are fully aware that watch the channel. But the Cobra Viper, can't argue with this one. Definitely probably on everybody's top 10 list, I would have to think. If not, hey, tell me why. But for me, number 4 in my top 10 of 2021. All right, we're at the number 3 spot, and number 2 and number 3 were extremely close to me, and there was only one thing that put number 2 ahead, and of course we'll get to that when we get to number 2. But number 3 for me, we take another trip to the islands. I feel like I'm a travel agency here. We need to book your guys' tour to the islands. Cobra Island, that is, the Target exclusive out there. Maybe we should get a private jet at this point, as many times as we've journeyed to Cobra Island in this video alone. But number 3 to me was something special. This is where I said this line is the real deal, and it blew away my expectation. A lot of figures had, and there was a lot of great ones, but this one really seemed to take things up, really stepped up the game for the G.I. Joe Classified series, and once again, really looked to the past, but gave us a little bit of tweaks into the future, dirtied it up, classified it up, I guess you could say out there. And who am I talking about? Who's coming in at number 3? Well, it is one of our favorites, old Major Bludd. Major Bludd anxiety was a real thing. Once again, I luckily found this right off the bat, and I was happy to be done with Major Bludd anxiety. But a fabulous figure. If you guys remember General Bludd from the G.I. Joe cartoon, that's what we got right here. The colors are very much the same with a few little differences here and there. And the old Luke Skywalker or Major Bludd mechanical arm from back in the day, we remember that on his original G.I. Joe toy. How awesome that was as a kid. I remember making so many different playability features out of his robotic arm he had. And we do have that here. We got weapons that all store on the figure as usual. A removable helmet. Love the scarring on the eye there. You guys know Kyle's a sucker for a character with an eye patch, and Major Bludd's got one of those. Very familiar weapon that we saw with Major Bludd in the original line. Beautifully packaged. The artwork, phenomenal. Number 27 in the Cobra Island G.I. Joe Classified series. Just a fabulous figure. But this is one where really things changed in the Classified series. If you couldn't find Major Bludd, you just weren't going to Target stores. You weren't going to Target online, because he was online for a long, long time, even down to clearance, even in clearance in stores. And if you go to outlet stores now, the Marshalls, Big Lots, things like that, he's been at some of the mom and pop outlet stores and even Goodwill. A Target, there's some Targets that are close to Goodwills. They dump some inventory. There's been sightings of him at Goodwill. So if you weren't looking for Major Bludd or had a friend out there who would give it to you for cost plus shipping, you really weren't looking very hard out there, because he was out there if you wanted him. And this was the turn of the tide in the distribution issues, for me at least, in the G.I. Joe Classified series. I guess your mileage may vary, but I think I could speak pretty confidently of that. As Major Bludd, he was out there in spades for the time he was out there. And a fabulous figure, a fabulous villain, and truly a must-have figure. You got to have this in your G.I. Joe collection, and that's why he's at number 3 in my top 10 countdown. All right, we've come to number 2, and number 2 was a surprise this year. I wasn't expecting this one, and man, I was here for it, as this is possibly the most iconic G.I. Joe character of all time. Arguably, I would say. For me, he is not the most iconic, but he's somebody I respected. I respected this guy, and there's been a lot of different incarnations of this character over many, many years throughout the G.I. Joe universe. Who I'm talking about, I'm sure you can guess, and I'm talking about Snake Eyes. Yes, Snake Eyes. No stranger to the Classified series, as we've had 4 Snake Eyes in total. It might even be 5 at this point. He's no stranger to this line. I don't think he will be a stranger in the future as well. But number 2, 2021, has to go to the fan channel exclusive. And what's the fan channel exclusive? We're talking about Snake Eyes and Timber. Holy cow, did this thing blow me away. Much like Crocmaster and his alligator will probably blow me away in 2022, Snake Eyes and Timber blew me away in 2021. Love this version. Anytime you get an animal in the G.I. Joe universe, it moves up to the top of the heap for me. I've talked about it on the channel before. As a kid, I was looking for my favorites, and then after that, I was going to characters that had animals out there. It was just something about G.I. Joes and their animals, and Timber, no exception. Possibly the coolest animal in the G.I. Joe universe, arguably, once again. But to get an articulated wolf along with Snake Eyes, and I've said it in the review, this is my favorite version of Snake Eyes ever. I've never been one huge for the ninja aspect of the G.I. Joe universe, but Snake Eyes as a commando, sign me up all day long. Absolutely love this pack. Big Bad Toy Stores, GameStops, those are the kind of stores you find this one at. This was not Walmart and Target, which I know a lot of people probably missed out because of that. This is a set you have to track down. You cannot not have this set, in my mind, in your G.I. Joe Classified series. Just absolutely fabulous. Love the deluxe packaging. Loving to get an animal. Can't wait for next year with Crocmaster. I think it might be a yearly thing at this point where we get a deluxe pack with an animal. We'll see if that holds up. But number 2 for me, Snake Eyes and Timber. All right, my friends, we're at the number 1 spot, the number 1 G.I. Joe Classified Series of 2021 as voted by me. And as usual, put your top 10 list in order in the comments down below. And of course, the winner will get the prestigious Top 10 award for 2021. But number 1 for me is no stranger to the channel. If you guys have been following along, you know how much I love this character. This guy is at the top of my Mount Rushmore of heroes of all time. My favorite childhood G.I. Joe, my favorite G.I. Joe character, my most wanted G.I. Joe classified figure. Well, 2021 was smiling down upon old Kyle, as 2021 was the year Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series unleashed on me. Flint. Yes, Flint. I'm sure none of you guys are surprised. Probably the worst kept secret of all time out there. But I absolutely love this figure. Once again, it looks like old school Flint. It gives me those old school Flint feelings of the toy, the cartoon, but updated, brought to the future just a little bit more. He's got a wicked scar in his eye now. He's been in some battles. He's seen some things out there. But this is Flint, and I'm so happy this came. Early on, I said, hey, no Flint left behind. Well, if you've seen the store pegs or watched my Friday figure hunts, Flint's out there and pretty heavy. I'm not calling him a peg warmer. I think they're just trying to meet up to demands because they know this is the most popular G.I. Joe character of all time. You guys all know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But Flint, they had to have the pegs stocked because he's the guy everybody wants out there. And I'm so happy to get him. And then to get Lady Jaye at the same time was perfect on Hasbro's spot. I just thought that was a tremendous marketing move out there to put those two together. Two of the greatest G.I. Joe heroes in the same line. And Flint, the true leader of G.I. Joe, you'll never change my mind, as you guys know. But just everything I wanted in a Flint figure, updated to this modern age. As you guys know, Super 7 is going to come in hot with another Flint next year in the cartoon line. I'm here for that all day long as well. I can't wait to unbox that one on the channel, hopefully in 2022. We'll see what happens. You never know with Super 7. But Flint, childhood favorite, getting released in 2021. No doubt in my mind this was going to be number 1 for me. So he takes the top spot in 2021. But what say you guys out there in G.I. Joe YouTube land? How do you sit in your top 10? I'd be interested to hear it. Put it in the comments down below. You guys know I love G.I. Joe, so this is a special top 10 to me. And I hope we can do top 10 G.I. Joes for many, many years to come, as I'm here for anything and everything G.I. Joe. But put yours in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video. You made it this far. You can at least give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We're marching on subscribers every single day, and I want you to be a part of it. And we got more top 10 lists. We're counting down a lot of lines this year for 2021, and we'll do it again next year, hopefully. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. Social media, you can follow me and on Twitter at SirPaul64. Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and of course, ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, support the channel. Truly the best way to support the channel. So there it is. Another top 10 countdown is done. And we're talking G.I. Joe today, as you guys know. So there it is, the top 10 G.I. Joe figures of 2021 as voted by me.